NBC supports her? Let's see.
It's been about more than a week since the verdict. As you sit here with me now, has it sunk in? How could it? It's surreal and difficult.
Yeah.
In part, yes. This has been a long time coming. Do you stand
It sure has.
by your testimony and your accusations against Johnny Depp about abuse? Of course. To my dying day, will stand by every word of my testimony. I think vast majority of this trial was played out on social media. I think that this trial
this is as good as it's going to get.
is an example of that gone haywire, gone amok, and the jury is not immune to that.
Wait, what's that? What?
Social media testimony. I think vast majority of this trial was played out on social media. I think that...
So she thinks that social media, a bunch of people on Twitter, people like me, let's be honest, right? We're the ones that caused her to lose because, like, basically, all the jury went home, they watched Asmongold clips, and then they decided that she was guilty. Like, it's just so, like, manipulated the case. Yeah, like, it's just, come on.
This trial is an example of that gone haywire, gone amok, and the jury is not immune to...
I don't think that that's really the case. I mean, we've had a number of public cases where people went absolutely fucking apeshit about it. The Kyle Rittenhouse one. We had the one before with Derek Chauvin and, like, George Floyd. We've had a million of these things happen where the trial goes out, everybody's talking about it on social media, and there's OJ, yeah, it's like every single one of these has been the same fucking thing. It's like, what is this? Casey Anthony? Yeah.
That? You think the jury saw it? How could they not? I think even the most well-intentioned juror, it would have been impossible to avoid this. Every single day I passed for 3, 4, sometimes 6 blocks, city blocks lined with people holding signs saying, "Burn the witch," "Death to Amber." After 3.5 weeks, I took this...
I'm like, 6 blocks, somebody saying a sign, "Death to Amber." But I don't know, guys. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Stand and saw just a courtroom packed full of Captain Jack Sparrow fans who were vocal, energized. Can you put into words
they cut her off.
How that felt? This was the most humiliating and horrible thing I've ever been through. I have never felt more removed from my own humanity.
I don't blame you.
I felt less than human. Let's go back to the day of the verdict. Were you feeling confident?
It's like she lying? No, of course she's lying. She's lying the whole time. Like, it's just, whenever I see shit like this, it annoys me because she acts like she's a victim of this outcome. Whereas, like, she was the one that wanted him to pay her $50,000 a month and give her 3 houses so she wouldn't make it public. So, like, you fuck around, you're gonna find out. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, really, that's what happened. End a car. Put on 1080p. Bitch, shut the fuck up. I can't do that. Why would I have it on a bad quality on purpose? This is the only one I have.
That's a great question.
How did I feel?
I wish I could say yes to that.
What's this?
I want to say yes to you, but it wouldn't be true.
God.
Even if you think that I'm lying, you still couldn't tell me, look me in the eye and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation. There was another trial.
Well, this is not a fair representation. So here's the facts. Is there a fair representation of flat earthers on Twitter? No, man. It's like pretty much everybody thinks that shit's round. So, like, how's that fair? That, like, 99% of people, 95% of people don't think it's flat. There's no fair representation for flat earthers, man. Like, what is this? And that's kind of what I'm saying. It's like a fair representation like what she's implying is like, oh, the fair representation is like, oh, nobody supported me. Well, yeah, because it was bullshit. It wasn't a fair representation because it wasn't a fair amount of evidence. It was imbalanced amounts of evidence. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's of course there's going to be more people that don't believe you because there's more reasons not to believe you. Man, there's not a lot of people that think the earth is flat on Twitter, man. Like, how's this fucking fair? How are we supposed to have a fair democracy? Oh, I thought it was supposed to be the marketplace of ideas, but everybody disagrees with me.
Handled it dealt with the same substantive issues that had even more evidence in. In fact, my evidence was largely kept out. Really important pieces of evidence kept out.
Why? Why was it kept out? Like, why? This is the thing. Like, basically, it's like, oh, well, we would have won, but we didn't. Because all of the lawyers team, they decided, they're like, man, we want to lose. And so we're not going to let the evidence that's going to be helpful have it out. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
done differently, handled differently by a judge instead of a jury.
Some evidence is admissible in a UK court that is not admissible in a US court. Do you think that maybe he just had better lawyers?
I will say his lawyers did certainly a better job of distracting the jury from the real issues.
For some people, they just were frankly disgusted by the whole thing and don't have much sympathy for either one of you.
Well, they don't have... Well, I think that a lot of people did feel that way. That's really the truth, is that the interviewer is not wrong. It's the fact that, like, yeah, a lot of people just saw this and, like, this is, like, some fucking crazy Hollywood relationship with two people that are clearly off the deep end, and they just didn't want to have anything to do with it, man. Like, that's what, yeah, fuck rich people. Yeah, they don't give a fuck about this. It's stupid. So is the lawyers were at fault? Yeah, basically it's the lawyers, social media, the jury, the judge. It's everybody, man.
Can you understand that?
Absolutely. I would not blame the average person for looking at this and how it's been covered and not think that it is Hollywood brats at their worst. But what people don't understand...
Well, yeah, that's because it was. Like, that's what it was. You don't have to be ashamed of that. Plenty of dumb people do this all the time. You don't have to be a multimillionaire to be a dumbass. I have friends of mine that do drugs and have problems like this all the time. And they're poor as shit. It's just you don't hear about them because nobody gives a fuck about what happened with Paul. Oh, Paul's in jail again? Okay. Who gives a fuck? It doesn't even make it to the national newspaper. Or sorry, the local newspaper. Yeah, fuck them.
And it's actually so much bigger than that. This is not only about our First Amendment right to speak.
But here's the thing about the First Amendment.
Yeah, here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. Here's a little funny little tidbit, little bonus bit of information.
It protects free speech. It doesn't protect lies that amount to defamation.
That's true.
And that was the issue in the case.
Yes, exactly. You can't go into... The free speech does not protect you if you go into a crowded theater and you scream fire. We get the concept of free speech from the Greeks. My understanding of what that means is not just the freedom to speak.
I like how she said that, and I'm pretty sure that they cut off because she went off on a tangent. It's from the Greeks, yeah. I don't know if it was from the Greeks or not. It's talking about the Senate and people talking. I have no idea.
It's a freedom to speak truth to power.
What?
My understanding of what that means is not just the freedom to speak. It's a freedom to speak truth to power.
Well, what do you think the guy who's saying fire in the crowded building thinks? I bet he feels pretty fucking powerful. Everybody's running around and they're acting crazy and shit. They're like, holy fuck, where is it? Oh my god, get out of my way. I've got to get out of this building right now. Yeah, I bet he feels really fucking powerful. He's like, I did this. Wow.
The truth is the word.
Speak truth to power. You know what that means? Nothing. It's just some bullshit term that people made up to make it sound like they're saying something more than what they are. It's just bullshit.
And
Yes.
that was the issue.
And that's all I spoke. And I spoke it to power, and I paid the price.
In the closing argument.
Yeah, what,
And
again.
The truth is the word.
Yes.
And that was the issue.
And that's all I spoke. And I spoke it to power, and I paid the price.
In the closing arguments, the Depp lawyer said, called your testimony the performance of a lifetime, and said
It's
you were
certainly
acting.
better than Aquaman.
What do you say to that?
Says the lawyer for the man who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers.
Whenever I saw Edward Scissorhands, I knew that he didn't have scissors for fingers. I didn't, like whenever I go and I see Jurassic Park, I don't think, damn, so they got a whole Triceratops for this fucking movie. God, where'd they get that? Are those still in Australia or some shit? God, that's a big boy. Wow. You know what I mean? Like, it's a movie.
I'm the performer. I had listened to weeks of testimony insinuating that, or saying quite directly that, you know, I'm a terrible actress.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit confused how I could be both.
The Depp team
No, you're not. Isn't it obvious? If you were a good actress, you'd have won.
argued that you were the abuser, that you instigated physical violence. Did you?
I never
That's
had to
why you
instigate
didn't
it.
win.
I responded to it. When you're living in violence and it becomes normal, as I testified to, you have to adapt.
You say you were responding, but there is evidence. There are tapes in which you acknowledge hitting. There are tapes in which you say, I started the fight.
I know much has been made of these audio tapes. They were first leaked online after being edited. What you would hear in those clips.
You know, you can check if a video or an audio thing has been edited, right? Because you can go into the sound waves and you can measure, like, there will be abrupt changes in, like, the way that the sound waves happen. Like, and then also metadata. Yeah, like, I've seen videos of this as well. Not only is it the metadata, but you can listen to the sounds, and if you have a program that can read that, it will show you where the edits are. Because it's not a completely quiet room besides that. You will see changes in between the background audio. It's just fucking bullshit.
Are not evidence of what was happening. It was evidence of a
compression, yeah.
negotiation of how to
don't know
talk
the
about
details.
that with your abuser.
But I am looking at a transcript that says, he says, you start physical fights, and you say, I did start a physical fight. I can't promise you I won't get physical again. I mean, this is in black and white. I understand context.
Yeah.
But you're testifying and you're just telling me today, I never started a physical fight, and
And
here
it
you are on
says that
tape
you-
saying you did.
As I testified
Isn't
on-
that crazy? Isn't that just a crazy coincidence? I can't believe Captain Jack Sparrow tricked you into believing that.
on the stand about this, is that when your life is at risk, not only will you take the blame for things that you shouldn't take the blame for,
Yeah.
but when you're in an abusive dynamic, psychologically, emotionally, and physically, you don't have the resources that, say, you or I do with the luxury of saying, hey, this is black and white, because it's anything but when you're living in it.
But then there are other times there's
So it's a completely different. Nah, bro. Like, it's actually, like, you thought it was up, it's down. Like, it's totally different. It's nuts, man. Like, this is your best role. It's just, what's this here? This complete logical, give your first aggressive partner a knife and then start physical fights. Reality is literally impossible to understand. Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Come on. So she lied? Listen. Time is a tangled web.
another tape where you're taunting him and saying, oh, tell the world, Johnny Depp, I, a man, am a victim of domestic violence.
Yeah.
20-second clips or the transcripts of them are not representative of even the 2 hours or the 3 hours that those clips are excerpt from.
Could your side have just put the whole 3 hours in then?
I'm not a lawyer, as I
Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, that's actually a very good fucking question, you know what I mean? It's like, well, actually, if you had the context, I was totally right. Well, then why didn't you put the context in? Well, here's the thing, I'm not a lawyer, right? I mean, look, you can't expect, look, it is, yeah, I mean, look, it is what it is.
testified to.
Jesus.
I was talking in those recordings as a person in extreme amount of emotional, psychological, and physical distress.
He
And
says
it
he
doesn't.
never hit you.
He can't-
Never. Is
yeah.
that a lie?
Yes, it is.
What about the witnesses who said they have seen you instigate physical violence?
I've seen firsthand how people will file rank and support the person they depend on.
Did they all come in and lie in court?
I am not here to call.
So everybody's lying. Is the legal team is lying, the other legal team is lying, Johnny's lying, social media is out to get you, the jury is fucking compromised, the tapes are edited selectively, they wouldn't let you bring in the evidence that would make it look like you were the winner. Like, I mean, come on. Like, I feel like I should play It Wasn't Me by Shaggy right now. Like, that's where we're at.
Any of his witnesses, any names. I'm here to just kind of talk about it from what it felt like for me as a
Well,
person.
it's like, I'm not here to, well, like, and this is the thing, right, is she tries to turn it back around. It's like she makes a statement, she's like lying about something, and then the interviewer asks, like, okay, well, this is the logical conclusion that statement leads you to. Is that, oh, everybody's filing rank because he's this popular person. And then she asks, well, you think everybody's lying? It's like, well, I mean, look, I'm just talking about how it feels to me. Well, then what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Person who sat there.
When I asked his lawyers, why do you think you won? And the answer I got was, because she never took responsibility for anything she did
That's
in the
true.
marriage.
I did do and say horrible, regrettable things.
We saw that.
Throughout my relationship. I behaved in horrible, almost unrecognizable to myself ways. There's so
Yeah.
much. I have so much regret. I freely and openly and voluntarily talked about what I did. I talked about the horrible language. I talked about being pushed to the extent where I didn't even know the difference between, right and wrong. I will always continue to feel like I was a part of this, like I was the other half of this relationship, because I was. And it was ugly and could be very beautiful. It was very, very toxic.
Okay.
We were awful to each other. I made a lot of mistakes.
Okay.
A lot of mistakes. But I've always told the truth.
Well, I find that to be a little bit of that I did not expect to hear that at the end, but okay, sure. Self-snitching? I think so. What makes me want to punch my screen? I'll watch the fucking the interview with their lawyers, but before I do that, I want to say, like, this whole thing with her, it's like, it didn't work out. Like, you tried to get him and you got. That's the way it goes. Like, why are you doing this interview? Like, what is the best case scenario with this interview? Everybody already thinks you're lying. There's evidence that you're lying. Like, the jury already, like, you already owe them the money. You lost. Like, what's the best case scenario here? Doing an interview talking about how it's everybody else's fault that you lost and it was unfair. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, move on. Like, goddamn. I don't think that they will. I think that I actually feel like this is probably going to turn into something else, man. I do. OnlyFans is her next thing. She's not going to do OnlyFans. I don't think that's going to happen. I've only told the truth, except for 30 seconds ago whenever I said I was lying in the tapes, and you can hear where I said things. People think she's getting paid for the interview. I mean, I don't know about getting paid for the interview. I find that to be unlikely. Getting a GoFundMe for her supporters to pay for her. There's a lot of people that believe that. It's just like every single time that she goes through, and what she's trying to do is she's trying to tell like a personal story and have people feel sorry for her. But the moment that people call her out on any of the details, she's like, well, I mean, this is just how it felt to me. It's like, well, yeah, but like, what the fuck does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, it's a fact. What's this here? It's normal to sell these interviews. It's exclusive. Sure. Maybe her supporters deserve to be drained. If people want to believe her, that is their money to be lost. That's theirs to lose. I'm going to be honest. Trying to make herself look good for Hollywood, try to get work. Nobody's going to want to work. The reason why, it's like, even if the people that are doing the movie think that she's not lying, it doesn't really matter, because nobody's going to want to see a movie with her in it. You know what I mean? She never have closure, and that's her life. That's how it started. You cannot sell the interview. I have no idea. People take it too seriously. She has NPD. She's not self-aware to the point of giving up. Maybe. I'll watch the other one here, and we'll take a look at it. It's just nuts. Yeah, only time she takes accountability is whenever she's told she doesn't take accountability. That's about it. Wasn't she the one that just said she wanted to be left alone in the end and she kept going on? Yeah, I think so.